Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening and welcome to the Newsfirst newsroom here in Colombo. This is Primetime News at 9. I'm Ramesh Irugal Bandara. Let's start off with a look at your headlines tonight. 7 individuals killed in 5 deadly motor accidents within 24 hours. An unknown object breaks through the roof of a house in Ragala. Also making headlines tonight, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that long-term lending rates have spaced to decrease further. We have the details of these stories and much more. Let's now cross over to the main studio where Shane and Stephanie are standing by.
Thank you, Ramesh. A very good evening. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Let's start off with tonight's top story.
The strike action that was launched by railways trade unions has been called off. Representatives added that though they expected a dialogue with the subject minister, taking into account the outcome of the strike situation, they decided to call off the strike.
The Organisation to Protect the Land Rights of Residents in Wanathamulla convened a media briefing today. Attention was focused on the alleged abduction of an individual as well as a protest held subsequently. The allegedly abducted individual also attended the media briefing.
A protest was also staged today in line with the media briefing.
That the President, you have to say,
මම ඇත්ත සිද්ධිය මට වෙච්ච දේවල් මං කිව්වේ මට එනකොට කිව්වේ කියපන් කියලා ඒ වගේම
This is the truth. This happened to me. I need to reveal this. A couple of minutes before they released me, I was asked when my birthday is. I said the 10th of September 1956. Then he said, forget the day and use today as my birthday. This is how they spoke to me. I feel this is an organized action because they even cooked meals where I was. I need to request the government to arrest the perpetrators connected to this incident before arresting individuals who were involved in the protest. I love my life. I don't want to die. I have children. We had doubts about the life of Sunil. That is why we began engaging in a peaceful protest. Anurasena Naika then comes to the location and says that he will be returned to us in 45 minutes with no harm done to him. His statements made it very clear that Sunil was alive. DIG Anurasena Naika states that he will be returned to us shortly with confidence.
DIG Mahatya Kara, Anurasena Naika Mahatya Kara.
These protesters were in and out of the streets. They were requesting that this individual be freed. We clearly told them that we will conduct an investigation immediately to find this individual. They wanted him to be found in half an hour, and so on. We told them clearly that we will conduct immediate investigations. We made that promise and they accepted it. We need to clear that road.
According to the police, during the last 24-hour period that ended at 6 a.m. today, 9 deadly motor accidents were reported. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana noted that 5 of these accidents involved motorbikes.
7 individuals died in 7 deadly accidents that involved motorbikes during the last 24-hour period, which ended at 6 a.m. today. 2 youth died in the Radhawana junction in Dompe when the motorcycle they were travelling in collided with a bus. The deceased have been identified as 19-year-old Shirley Dialvis of the Mandavala area and 24-year-old Pradeep Lakmal, a resident of Godakalla, Radhawana.
The bus was travelling from this direction. The motorcycle went onto the wrong lane. They collided with the bus and they were not wearing helmets.
1 individual died when a motorcycle veered off the road and crashed into a pole. According to a correspondent in the area, the deceased has been identified as a 23-year-old resident of Sivanagala and the father of 2. The pillion rider had reported to have been fallen into a well as a result of the crash. Yet another motorcyclist died when he met with an accident in the Batalgala area in Hatton. The victim is a resident of the Kulyawata area.
Now, a majority of the accidents that were reported today and yesterday involved motorcycles. Now, these motorcycles are being ridden mainly by the youth of this country. True, the motorcycle is one of the most convenient ways of traveling in the country today. but however, it does have its own risks.
Here are some of the frightening statistics on motorcycle accidents.
The motorbike is the smallest vehicle on the road these days. As a result of this, they fall victim to large vehicles. Motorcyclists have less regard for speed restrictions and road rules than most other drivers. The quality of the helmets worn by both the rider and the pillion rider are also concerning facts. Accidents are also caused due to driving under the influence of alcohol, disregarding road signs, and also because of faults of pedestrians.
What steps should be taken to reduce accidents?
All motorists need to keep in mind that their goal is to lower crimes. Likewise, pedestrians need to think that they will not fall victim to any accidents. Only then we can lower accidents taking place.
In
2012, of the 4.9 million vehicles registered in the country, 2.9 million were motorbikes. A majority of those who die and injure themselves after meeting with an accident while riding a motorbike are young males. This situation has caused an issue for the society and the economy. According to a census conducted in 1991, the damage caused by accidents was estimated to be 5 billion rupees. In the present context, that figure may be higher. Motorcyclists need to abide by the law to prevent accidents from taking place.
මාර්ගයේ නීති වලට අනුකූලව මේ මාර්ගය භාවිතා කිරීමෙන් නියන්නතුරු යතුරුපැඩි යන්ත්‍ර ගොඩක් අවම කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
The following EU report was filed by B.M. Rashad from Samanture.
An accident took place at around 6 this morning in Min area in the Ampara district. The accident was a result of a collision between a three-wheeler and a lorry. One person died on the spot while another succumbed to his injuries upon admission to the hospital.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa notes that the state service should be practical. Addressing an event held in Colombo today, the president notes that procrastination cannot be entertained in public service.
The Golden Jubilee of the Sri Lanka Administrative Services Association was held today at the BMICH under the auspices of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Former secretaries as well as the current secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration and Home Affairs, P.B. Abekun, received special awards from the President. The officers of the Sri Lanka Administrative Services Association also presented the President with a special memento.
Sri Lanka Rajanayakayani Obitumanta.
The
Mahinda Chintane is not merely a policy document. We see it as a practical plan for the people of this country. I believe that the state service should be more practical. Circulars and ordinances should not be placed above the people. We should make them documents that have been created for the betterment of the people. This should be our goal. There is some room to serve the public in every instance.
Senior advisor to the President, Milinda Murugoda, is currently on a visit to India on an invitation extended by the Government of India. The objective of the visit was to form an independent assessment of key issues concerning the Indo-Lanka relationship and report back to the President.
Senior advisor to the President, Milinda Murugoda, met with India's National Security Advisor Shiv Shankar Menon on Saturday. Murugoda engaged in bilateral discussions with several Indian ministers as well, including Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, Dr. E.M.S. Nachappan, and Indian Minister for Rural Development, Jairam Ramesh. He also called on the General Secretary of the Indian Congress, Digvijay Singh, during his visit. During his visit to India, the senior advisor to the President also met with the leader of the opposition of India's Rajya Sabha, M. Shri Arun Jaitley, as well as his deputy Ravi Shankar Prasad.
A house in Aralaganville was damaged when an unknown object fell through its roof last night. Vice-Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, Professor Atula Senaratna, said that there are doubts whether the unknown object is a fragment of a meteor. He added that a team of specialists are conducting further investigations.
An unknown object had fallen through the roof of a house in the Ragala estate, which comes under the purview of the Valapane Divisional Secretariat at around 11:45 p.m. yesterday. A fire erupted as a result of the incident, which damaged several kitchen appliances. The house was inhabited by a family of 4. Both breadwinners in the family are labourers attached to the Ragala estate.
We heard a sound when we were about to go to sleep. I thought a cat had turned over a stone.
Officers from the Ragala Police and the Valapane Divisional Secretariat arrived at the location this morning and commenced their investigations into the incident. Our initial inquiries into the subject revealed that no incidents of explosions as a result of human activity were reported in the recent past. The University of Peradeniya has thereby decided to commence an investigation based on the assumption that the unknown object was a fragment of a meteor.
I believe that this is a meteorite. This had generated a high amount of heat. There is no doubt that this was on fire when it arrived. A geologist will conduct the investigations. We will conduct further investigations tomorrow morning.
The director of the Medical Research Institute, Dr. Anil Samaranayaka, said that if the fragments are directed to them for an investigation, they are prepared to do so. Back in December 2012, meteor fragments accompanied with rain were reported from Aralaganville in Polonnaruwa. The Medical Research Institute in Colombo forwarded the meteor fragments to Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe at the University of Cardiff and visiting lecturer at the Buckingham Centre for Astrobiology, Professor Richard B. Hoover. Tests conducted by Professor Wickramasinghe and the team presented a possible assumption that the fragment was from outer space, proving that there is life in the universe. However, geologists attached to the University of Peradeniya debated that the fragments were not from a meteor or any other space object, but was the result of sand coming into contact with lightning. Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe visited the island recently and requested that the site be protected. As per this request, a police detail was provided to the location.
After some 12 months of investigation into the Aralaganville stones, we have now absolutely decisive evidence that these are actually meteorites. They are a new class of meteorites that have not been studied in the past, so they define a new class of meteorites. But there's no question that they fell from the skies. We have evidence from isotope studies of the different forms of the element carbon, different forms of the element oxygen, and these are quite definite. They point to an extraterrestrial origin of the meteorites. And also the microbial fossils inside the Aralaganville stones have been dated at some 300 million years, and so these are also quite definitely extraterrestrial life forms that have come with the stones. I had the opportunity and the privilege of meeting His Excellency the President during my visit to Sri Lanka, and I appraised him of the latest developments in relation to this meteorite, and he arranged for the site where the meteorite fell to be deemed to be a historic site. So there's going to be a plaque put there to say that this is where the Aralaganville meteorite fell in 2012, and the life that is discovered within these meteorites essentially changed the way we think about ourselves, changed the way that we think about life in the universe.
The owner of the land, A.G. Tikiri Bandara, says that he is facing difficulties due to this.
This farmland is my life. If I do not have this farmland, even my grandchildren will not have a future. My grandchildren live with me. We have no jobs and we have no proper means of income. If this land is taken over by the state, I will lose all hope.